This a view through the heads-up display. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Endeavour rolling out in California, home after completing 4.9 million miles on a mission that launched a new era in space robotics.
Houston, Endeavour, wheel stop.
And Endeavour Houston, copy, wheel stop. Welcome back after a tremendously successful mission taking the arm to space.
So there you saw it, a perfect touchdown in sunny California for Endeavour and mission STS-100. The mission that saw the first European inside the International Space Station. Now let's retrace the steps of this historical and very successful flight. Among the astronauts from NASA, Canada and Russia was the European Space Agency's Umberto Guidoni. Umberto was making his second spaceflight, and mission STS-100 would place him in history as the first European to enter the International Space Station.
Umberto Guidoni, an Italian astronaut representing the European Space Agency. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. We have a go for main engine start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, extending the reach of the space station while extending partnerships above the Earth.
Houston, Endeavour, roll program.
Roger, roll, Endeavour.
Houston's now controlling. Endeavour's rolling on course toward the International Space Station. Ashby's now maneuvering the shuttle's robotic arm down into place to latch on to the pallet's fixture. Pilot Jeff Ashby, assisted by European Space Agency astronaut Umberto Guidoni, are working with the shuttle's robotic arm, maneuvering that pallet above the payload bay and into a position where it will be latched to the International Space Station. European Space Agency astronaut Umberto Guidoni entering the station, the first European Space Agency representative, one of the major partners in the station, to enter the orbiting complex. This, again, a view of other activities underway, the common berthing mechanism on the Unity module, the temporary home, soon to be the temporary home of the Raffaello logistics module. The second Italian Space Agency developed multi-purpose logistics module for the station that is visiting the station. Astronaut Scott Perezinski will use the shuttle's robotic arm to latch on to Raffaello, lift it out of the shuttle's payload bay, and maneuver it up to the Unity module to be connected to a port on Unity, where it will remain for the next several days while the station and shuttle crews unload almost 2 tons of equipment and supplies from that module bound for the station, and then reload equipment that is no longer required on the station for a return to Earth.
As for our ESA astronaut Umberto Guidoni, his day included helping in the setup of the shuttle robotic arm and supporting the spacewalkers, especially Ashby, the arm's operator. Following a private link-up with his family, he and his crewmates reviewed the day's transfer with the space station crew and sent a status report to Mission Control. During the mission's second spacewalk, performed by astronauts Perezinski and Hadfield, there was a moment of slight concern when a connector broke away and got trapped under a thermal blanket. The connector wasn't found, but it was confirmed early on that the missing piece of equipment would not hinder any future work. Midway through the mission, Umberto Guidoni had a chance to talk to both ESA's Director General and the President of the European Commission via satellite link-up between Brussels and the space station.
May I say a few words to Umberto? How are you, Umberto, first? How do you feel in this second mission? Because we met after the first one, so this is the second one. Which is the difference, according to you, between the two missions?
This is a very complex mission, and the difference is that on the first one was mainly focused on science. On this one, we have some experiments on board, but mainly we are building the space station. So it's most important from the operational point of view.
For all ISS PCSs, what is the intent of the next couple of steps? It doesn't match exactly our nav path.
Hopefully when you get up in the morning, but if not, we think that there are lots of things that you as two crews together can be doing to get the ISS in good shape.
Computer software problems were reported on Thursday the 26th, a situation which caused real concern and forced Mission Control to extend the flight by 1 day. This particular problem underlined the importance of the astronauts' presence on the station. Robots are one thing, but the human touch is irreplaceable.
Over the next couple of hours, the crew will finish up loading this module. The master of activities in that loading and unloading of equipment on the left-hand side of the screen is Umberto Guidoni, a European Space Agency astronaut, the first European Space Agency astronaut, one of the partners in the station, to visit the orbiting complex. Romenger and Guidoni looking at the camera on the right, stowing items away. Astronauts Scott Perezinski and pilot for Endeavour, Jeff Ashby.
27 hours later than originally planned, Endeavour severed the link with the space station and began the home run. After 12 days and nearly 8 million kilometers, mission STS-100 touched down at Edwards Air Force Base in California. The plan was to land, however, in Florida originally, where the families of the crew were waiting to greet them. But unfortunately, bad weather there dictated that California would have to be the final destination. STS-100, a very successful mission, but one that also knew a few tricky moments. The computer problems were soon handled by improvisation and quick reactions between the crew and the hundreds of people providing ground support. With little more than 1 day's delay, all the mission's objectives were successfully achieved.